In this week's PMQs, Boris Johnson repeated a manifesto lie, confirmed his plans to break international law, and tried to distract from the corruption in his government by pointing the finger at literally everyone else in the world.
We're supporting them by recruiting, as she knows, 50,000 more nurses.
But you've already admitted
50,000 more nurses.
Yes.
How many of those will actually be new?
Yes, 31,000 is the answer.
And then on refugees,
Our new Nationality and Borders Bill, which will make it possible for us to distinguish at last between those who come here legally and those who come here illegally.
which goes against the International Refugee Convention, which says you're not allowed to penalise people based on how they enter the country. But this week's PMQs was mainly about the fallout from Boris Johnson forcing his MPs to vote against the immediate suspension of Owen Paterson, who was recently found guilty of corruption because he was paid £112,000 a year by private companies and lobbied on their behalf in Parliament. And when Starmer asked Boris Johnson to
just say sorry for trying to give the green light to corruption,
Johnson refuses and instead goes off on one to the point of really annoying the Parliament's referee about Starmer's work as a lawyer for Mishcon de Reya up until early 2017, which was within the rules.
Perhaps he could clear up from his proposals, whether he would continue to be able to take money as he did from Mishcon de Reya and other leaders.
It's Prime Minister's questions, not Leader of the Opposition's questions.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, but we still have not heard why the Honourable Gentleman will not tell.
Prime Minister, sit down.
Ooh, now while there is a conversation to be had about MPs who had second jobs in the past trying to make things better now, A, it's not the same as the government actively trying to help somebody who effectively took bribes to influence UK politics get away with it, and B, two wrongs don't make a right. Because last I checked, the Prime Minister isn't accountable to the leader of the Labour Party, they're supposed to be accountable to the people.
His own misconduct is absolutely clear.
We cannot accuse somebody of misconduct.
I refer to the Right Honourable Gentleman's misconduct.
Now, I'm not going to stand here and pretend that's not funny, because it is. But just like this guy was funny when he was blowing up a hospital. This stuff affects real people's lives. £600 million of taxpayer money went to the company that Owen Paterson was working for without any competition process to make sure they were the best for the job. Just like £156 million worth of PPE was bought from a company that had just been set up by the wife of a Tory advisor, and that PPE didn't work. Playing the clown while people in hospital are suffering isn't as funny in real life.
These constant attacks on the UK's levels of corruption and sleaze do a massive disservice to billions of people around the world who genuinely suffer from governments that are corrupt.
So because there are governments around the world that might be more corrupt than your government, it's bad to call out your corruption.
Who genuinely have no ability to scrutinise their MPs.
So you're implying that we can scrutinise our MPs in the UK? Well, 2 weeks ago an MP was found guilty of corruption, and parties voted for by a majority of UK voters chose to suspend him, and then a party that was voted for by a minority stopped that from happening. So while you might say,
This is one of the cleanest democracies in the world,
it feels pretty dirty to me.